The Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, the 13th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
At that very hour, some Pharisees came and said to him, Jesus, "Get away from here, for Herod wants to kill you." And he said to them, "Go and tell that fox for me. Listen, I am casting out demons and performing cures today and tomorrow. And on the third day, I will finish my work. Yet today, tomorrow, and the next day, I must be on my way, because it is impossible for a prophet to be killed outside of Jerusalem." Jerusalem. Jerusalem. The city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it. How often have I desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing. See, your house is left to you. And I tell you, you will not see me until the time comes when you say, "Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. You may be seated. So by this time in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus has had quite a few successes and done all kinds of things. Casted out demons and cured people and sent disciples out, and they're doing all kinds of wonderful things, but Jesus still meets with resistance. And we get a story a little bit before this passage. Tries to come back home and isn't able to do ministry at home. And here they just want him to leave, right? To get out is what they, "Oh, you better get out because Herod's coming for you." Well, the truth is they want him to leave. And Jesus has this moment of lament over the city. You know, he said, "Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you're the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are coming to save it," including himself, because he knows where his story will lead him. And he says, I just wish so much that I could be the hen that gathered you up under my wings and took care of you and protected you and shielded you and guided you, and you listened to me like a hen and its little chicks. But then he says, "But you don't want that." So what Jesus says is, the city's on you. You get to do what you're going to do. And you get to reap the consequences of your actions and behavior for not listening. But Jesus wishes it wasn't so, even in that moment. And he says, I'm going to do my thing today and tomorrow, and then the next day I'm going to be done and I'll move on to somewhere else. I wonder if Jesus laments over us today. If he looked at where we are today, would he lament the same? And say, just like the people of old, we get to go back, and takes us back to Abraham, to the patriarchs, and it's just like forever God has been sending people. That's, Jesus in Jerusalem. And forever and ever, and you don't listen, and you kill them, and you get rid of them, and then God sends somebody else, and you just keep doing this. And you reap the benefits of all that behavior, and yet you still keep doing it. Is Jesus lamenting over us today? As Jesus reminds us that God continues to send prophets in our midst to continually tell us the way of the Lord and what we should be doing and what the place should look like. And we don't listen. And we kill them, and we cast them away, we make fun of them, and what Jesus says to us, just like Jesus said to Jerusalem, this is free will. Right? You get to choose, but you get the consequence of your choice. And notice, we continually see in the scriptures, it's not individual, it's the community. He laments over Jerusalem, the city, not an individual or a group of people, but everyone, the community. Because he knows that it's the community that will all fall upon, regardless of whether you're trying or not. The same is true today. The effect of the decisions we make collectively will fall upon us. And God continues to send messengers into this world to tell us how it should be. I don't know. God even put it in writing for us so that we can see, right? God even, the people of old, they would get the consequences, and then every so often we read in Scripture that God would remind them of the consequences and give them a little taste so that they remember. Well, and God does that for us too. God gives us a glimpse of what it might be like if we continue on the path. God gives us a taste of that. Is it me or is it hot in here? Right? Yeah. I wonder if God is telling us, well, we did open the door, right? The path you're on may lead you to a hotter place. I don't know. Do we listen to the prophets? Do we listen to the Son that God sent to us on how the world is meant to be and to follow the Son? Right? Because Jesus desires for us to be little chicks so that Jesus can be the hen that gathers us up, right? And gathers us around and protects us and hides us and shadows us, right? That's some of the words we heard this morning, right? And Jesus desires that so much for us, to be little chicks, for Jesus the hen, that we can gather in that community and go where Jesus leads us, and then enjoy the benefits of those choices, right? That is the power of the cross. That is where Jesus did open up his arms like a hen. And that is where Jesus did gather us all in as chicks. And that is where Jesus says, gather at the foot of this, and I will always wrap my arms around you. Right? We said that in the confession. We said that in the prayer of the day. Check me out. It's in the bulletin. Right? This feeling that we are Jesus chicks. And Jesus is the hen. We just need to remember that. And so we have a reminder for you, right? Right? You can take one and pass them on if you so desire. I know you did. That's why I brought them. A reminder that you are a chick. Right? We are Jesus' peeps, right? And Jesus gathers us from the arms of the cross so that we can be collected, so that we can go in the way that Christ leads us, so that we can be shadowed in the power of the cross as we go out into the world, so that we as little chicks can find other little chicks and bring them to the mother hen. That's what this faith is all about. They're coming, I think. Remind yourself of your peepness, of being Jesus' peeps. And allow yourself to be guided by Christ, to be protected by the cross, to be inspired by the Spirit, to do the work of God's kingdom in the midst of a world that needs to be safe. Final reading comes to us from the 13th chapter of Luke. It says, at that very hour, some Pharisees came and said to him, Jesus, get away from here, for Herod wants to kill you. And he said to them, go and tell that fox for me. Listen, I am casting out demons and performing cures today and tomorrow, and on the third day I finish my work. Yet today, tomorrow, and the next day, I must be on my way, because it is impossible for a prophet to be killed outside of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it. How often I have desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you are not willing. See, your house is left to you. And I tell you, you will not see me until the time comes when you say, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. You may be seated. So at this point in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus has been doing a lot, right? He's casted out demons, he's healed people, he's sent his disciples out, and they've casted out demons and healed people and done all kinds of miracles. And word's gotten out about him, right? And he comes to Jerusalem, the center of the faith. And the Pharisees, who by this time in the story we know don't want him around, they come to him and say, you gotta go. Herod is trying to kill you. Oh, we'd like you to stay, of course, but you got to go. And he looks at them and he feels sad. And he tells them, you know, God has sent prophets to you forever to show you the way, and you've killed them all. And you refuse to listen to the people God sends you. And yet God still sends you more people and shows you the consequences of the choices you make and wants you to change and hear and do the work of the kingdom. But constantly, you just choose not. And Jesus says, he says, this house is on you now. You choose and live with your consequences. Oh, I know. And you go, oh no, I know. That's bad. And Jesus said, and laments over Jerusalem in that moment. And it's like, you just not getting it. And he says, I desire is the word this translation uses. I desire that I was a hen and I could just gather you up in my little brood of chicks, and I'd cover you with my wings, and I'd guide you, and I'd protect you, and I'd keep you safe, and you'd listen to me, and you might cheep a little bit, but I'd be okay with it, right? That's what I wish for you. But then Jesus says, but you don't want that. And that saddens me, right? And I just, I wish you would come under my wings and be my little chicks, is kind of what the image he leaves them with, Jerusalem. And he says, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and then when I'm gone, I'm gonna go, but when I'm gone, it's gonna be on you. And your track record isn't that good, right? And I'm always interested with, this is a side note. Firefighters, they get to turn their sirens and lights on every time they leave the house. But, cops, we weren't all, whatever. Right? I wonder if Jesus laments today. I wonder if Jesus laments over us today. I think that's the question we're left with. Jesus is in our midst as we believe him to be. Where two or three are gathered. Does he lament? Does he lament the fact that God still sends people to show us the way, to teach us the will of God? Does God continually send prophets into our midst? The answer is yes. And do we continue to kill them? And the answer is yes, we do. And we don't listen to them. We make our own choices, and we lose sight of what it means to be God's children. And Jesus might lament today. I think Jesus would still desire to be that hen, right? That kind of gathers us into a brood. Interesting word, a brood. That's a gathering of chicks, right? So that we can be under his wings, so that we can be protected, so that we can live in the shadow of Christ and know the way and follow Christ where Christ is going, because he's going to kind of herd us there and make sure we get there. And to do what Jesus wants us to do, to go where God calls us to go, to be who the Spirit wants us to be. I think Jesus so much desires to be that hen today. And we to be those little chicks. But Jesus might say to us, I don't know. But you choose not to do that. And you choose to go on your own. And you choose to do what you want to do. And you'll get the consequences. Interesting moment this morning. I don't know if you've heard the rumor. It was hot in here this morning. I mean, hot. What's what? 80. It was 80 something. Terry's like, it's hot in here. And I'm like, I know. And I was cutting through, right? Because we were running around. I was cutting through. I was sweating, you know? And I commented to somebody, I won't say who it was. And I said, man, it is hot in here. And they said, maybe God's trying to tell you what it's going to be like if you don't change your ways. And I went, snap! What? Gotcha, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's true. Maybe God gives us glimpses of what our consequences may be. And wants us to change, to fall under God's wing, that's some of the words we heard in the prayer of the day today. In the absolution of the confession today, we see that language of being under God's wing. This morning, the choir sang a song, Power of the Cross, right? And that image of this wing and us being under it, that is the power of the cross. Because you see, at that moment, Jesus did stretch out his arms, yes? Yes, he did. And we understand that all humanity was at the foot of the cross that day in ways we cannot understand. But we were in his shadow that day. And he became that hen that holds us, his brood of chicks, in his arms and covers us with his protection and promises to continually guide us into the ways of peace and to protect us from harm, to bump us when we're on the wrong path, and to keep us in community one to another. That's the power of the cross. That's the day Jesus opened up his wings, and we became Jesus' chicks, right? So today I wanted to give you a reminder that you are you're a little chick for Jesus the hen, right? So what I have are Peeps, right? The people who were here earlier will tell you they're different flavors, so I won't tell you what the flavors are, right? So to remind you, the other basket got jumped up there. I'm sorry. I took your job. I know. Right. To remind you, in this season, as they're in the store, and if you get Peeps, to remind you that we are Jesus' Peeps. And we live under his shadow. And we're protected by his wings. And we're guided by his presence. And we live under the promise that we will always have this place. And he will always be ours. And we will always be his.